us briefly the journey of Kano, from its foundation to the challenges it faced over the years to where it stands right now.
So I started the company in 2012, and it kind of arose from overlapping forces. I'd done, in my previous life, I've been a journalist. I've been reporting on the financial sector, technology, and at the time there was this amazing enthusiasm and optimism around digital technology, around apps. Instagram had just been acquired for $1 billion. People were speculating that in the future we would all find ourselves connected in some beautiful simulation, and we would rise to these transcendent levels of creativity and collaboration. And that was sort of the view on technology. The view on finance and banking, this 2012, 2013, was very negative and critical and pessimistic. It was Occupy Wall Street. The financial crisis had just occurred. And I was a journalist. I was camped out in Zuccotti Park in downtown Manhattan with the protesters, and I was listening to their criticisms of the Federal Reserve, of the 1% in finance. And what I found really interesting at the time was, even as these protesters were criticizing the big banks, they were doing it on these devices, these MacBooks and iPhones, and they were logging onto Twitter and Facebook and tweeting hashtag Occupy everywhere. And it started to occur to me, like, finance is an arena where a lot of power is held and a very few people pull the strings. But technology is even more so. There are over 20 billion connected devices in the world today, but less than 50 million people understand how they work and can make them do something new. So this idea of a new computing platform that wouldn't just be about these sealed screens, but about making computers, making things yourself, understanding the way things work, seeing through things, and experiencing them with the eyes of a child and the beginner's mind, that started to really appeal to me. Around the same time, I left the world of journalism because the magazine I was at, Newsweek, they shut their print magazine. Journalism as a industry was being destroyed by technology at the time. Aggregation, clickbait, social media was taking all the advertising revenue from these traditional publishers, newspapers, magazines. I left journalism. I went to do my master's degree in the UK, and it was there that I met the inventor of this little chipset called the Raspberry Pi, which was this interesting open source board that hackers and hobbyists were using in all sorts of interesting ways. Like, they were sending it into space to capture photos from the upper atmosphere. They were putting this chipset into submarines and sending them under the ocean to autonomously capture the bleaching of the coral reefs. And this chipset, the inventor was at Cambridge, and he shared with me this frustration that he had. He said, there's so much power in this thing. People can put it together themselves, people can code it themselves, but it's not like kids aren't getting into it. Our families can't understand it. It's too complex for them. The For Dummies guide for this technology was 400 pages long. For Dummies, 400 pages long, tiny font, black and white photos, and all these kind of things crystallized. When I took that little piece of technology, this chipset, I showed it to my cousin Mika, who I saw over the weekend. He's 13 now. He was 6 years old at the time. And we were me and my big cousin saw playing with it with him, and we were talking about all the things it can do. Yeah, you can build a time-lapse camera, you can build a Bitcoin miner. And Mika's challenge to us was way simpler. He was can I make my own computer with this? I want to make my own computer, but it has to be as simple and fun as Lego, so no one teaches me how to do it. So that kind of core idea, a computer that anyone can make, a computing platform that is based around creativity rather than consumption, a way of deploying technology that wasn't just about getting you to click on ads and getting your behavior modified, a way of thinking about computing as something that gets stuff out of you, that allows you to express yourself and allows you to change the systems around you, to change the way we eat, to change the way we capture energy. That really clicked. We put that online. We translated it into 12 different languages. We did a crowdfunding campaign and became the most crowdfunded education technology campaign ever. We were backed by Steve Wozniak. The Wu-Tang Clan got involved. Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Prior to that, Prime Minister Theresa May. We ended up in the White House with Barack Obama. And since then, since that record-breaking campaign in 2013, we've been creating these integrated technology products that allow people to learn as they make and as they play, to have these powerful tools that have the simplicity and fun of a video game at their disposal and at the right price. And now, for the first time, we've collaborated with the world's largest technology company, Microsoft. We've created a PC that is transparent. You can build it yourself, that does teach you with these beautiful live videos and software tutorials, but also runs full Windows 10. And we're taking that out across the world, including with you guys. So that's kind of from then to now.
That is fantastic. Can you share with us some of your top innovations in the past year or recently?
Some innovations I'm really proud of. We designed, developed in collaboration with Warner Brothers and J.K. Rowling, the very first Harry Potter wand that actually works through technology. It's a wand that detects its, like a literally magic magician's wand that detects its direction, orientation, momentum, acceleration, and also the shapes that you create with it as you wave it. It detects all of that on the board, sends it to a companion software, and then uses that to allow you to not only cast a spell in a digital world that we created with Harry Potter, but also create and code your own spells. So what I'm proud of in that innovation is, like, so many of these major franchises are like passive experiences where you go, you see the Fantastic Beasts, you see the Avengers, you see Star Wars, and you just kind of absorb the latest. They give you your latest injection of branded content, whereas like our approach was like, you can become a part of the story, you can make your own spell, you can make your own power, and you can sort of co-create the franchise with the people who penned it. We did that one with Harry Potter, and then we leveraged some of that technology to do these products with Star Wars that would let you make your own force powers, like using motion detection, so you could Jedi mind trick, force push, force pull. And then we did something similar with Frozen that let you make your own elemental powers, like control the wind, the snow, the fire, the water, through motions and through your own curious customization of the code on screen. So I'm proud of that innovation. With the Kano Pc, we've created a computer that, pound for pound, at its price point, which is $299 US, is as or more powerful than almost any other Windows PC at that price point. It has a more precise and well-designed keyboard and trackpad. It's fully transparent and modular, so you can replace the pieces as you use it over time. In a third of cases, classrooms, they have to throw out a whole machine when just one part of the computer is aged, which is really bad for their budgets, but also really bad for the environment. We've created the first modular PC that lets you actually replace and upgrade the computer in time, so you don't have to waste this valuable technology. And I'm also really proud of the software innovation on that product. Not only is it Windows, but you're getting step-by-step tutorials in how computers work. You're getting video training in how to write your first lines of code, design your first graphic, make your first video game. And all of that is delivered through the device itself. So the start menu gives you projects, not just notifications. Our applications give you like an individual, a teacher, Leia from our team, who actually step-by-step leads you through all these mysterious realms of graphic design, programming, 3D modeling that you might not have ever experienced before. So I think, like, combining all those, the innovation I'm most proud of is Kano's ability across hardware and software to take, these crucial elements of the future that we're all moving into now, one in which there's going to be more done at a distance. There's going to be more need for algorithmic thinking, taking these areas that people are often quite afraid of and using like a really human and simple approach to demystify them and bring them into the mind of even a 6-year-old, but also a 66-year-old, with that feeling of love and discovery rather than fear. So I think using technology to remove people's fear, and doing it, in a way that prepares them for the future. That's what that's what I'm most proud of, and that's what's embodied in the products that we're bringing out now.
That is amazing. I want to jump on the applications. I want to try to do my own codes, my own algorithms. I never got the chance to learn it in depth or to do it. I'm not skeptical about it. I just wasn't sure how to do it, but I'm sure I'm gonna with Kano, I'm gonna at least be able to do at least level one of some coding. How is Kano different from its competitors?
We're just far better in every way, is the simplest answer. I say that with a smile. There aren't too many people who are competing with us in the realm of exactly what we do. No, the truth is, like, there's a lot of great stuff out there, and I think for us, especially in the realm of like affordable PCs that run Windows, I think the quality of the design, the durability of the components, the freshness and the fun of from the moment you open the box. For instance, you're not just getting like this beige sealed blocky gray box. You open it up, you've got a storybook. Your storybook shows you how to put the pieces together. There's a magnifying glass in the box that lets you look up close at the components and see, face to face how they work. Etched to the back of the PCB is this beautiful tree shape. Next to that tree are a few lines of code. You type those lines of code on the back of the PCB into the software, and you bring that tree to life. As soon as it comes to life, you're customizing it and changing it. So I think it's that sense, like, that every moment inside your computer is a discovery and an adventure, and you're being led on like a hero's journey, and the computer becomes your playground. It's more than just a utility. It's like a part of you, like as Morpheus says to Neo in the Matrix. Morpheus says to Neo, it's the reason you're the one is you don't just use a computer as a tool, you use it as if it was a part of yourself. And like, we should be having these more intimate and friendly relationships with our devices, and we should feel a greater sense of participation with them. And I think, the design of the product, even the way the components are color coded, like the red components mean power, the blue components mean sound, the green components mean data. All of that sort of communicates to the user, whether it's a kid or an adult, exactly what's going on below the surface. So I think that really differentiates Kano, the quality of the design at the price point which you achieve it at, the sense of play, the journey from the book to the software, to the device itself, the educational applications on board, which are about, opening your mind, giving you more to do than just use, turning you into a creator, not just a consumer. And I think, in general, it's a machine that is built to last. A lot of technology today is built to become obsolete. So you buy a new one. Ours is built to be, durable and to be upgraded and maintained over time. So as you learn more, you can get even more out of it. So I think those are a few elements. When we teach topics like coding, we do it in a way that makes it feel more like learning how to paint or how to play a game or how to make music. We really focus on creative applications of programming because we think those are particularly accessible to people from the outset. Now, millions of people on our platform who started not knowing anything about coding, some as young as 4 years old, some as old as 81, who are like engaged in this like carnival. They're like commenting on each other's creations. They're forking and remixing each other's code. They're hosting competitions. They're running surveys. It's that sort of sense of this being a playground, not just a school. I think that really differentiates us as well.
I generally like how it connects to the parents' email to make sure that parents are also involved and they are tracking the work of their kids and they're keeping an eye, especially with today's world.
Yeah, the privacy settings are key. It's an experience that we want to be like to bring a family together, right? It's so often in people's homes today, like the iPad or the smartphone is like a source of division between the members of the family. Like it's like your screen time is moderated. There's this sense again of fear. Like what is my son or daughter doing on their machine? Are they going to be exposed to stuff I don't want them to be exposed to? With Kano, it's tracked. There's the Windows privacy and family safety settings that are included out of the box. And then, as Jerry's, there's an integration. If you have a kid on Kano, you put your email in and you're getting regular updates on what they're doing, what they're learning, how they're customizing their profile, and maybe you even want to jump in and do some projects with them side by side because we designed the projects and the challenges to be like pretty age neutral. Parents and kids can come together and do it and both learn something and hopefully, become closer through that process of learning things together.
How did the partnership with Seed Group come about, and what is the purpose of this partnership?
No, I think C Group just through reputation is known for and also for what you guys have been doing like for, over the past few years for taking a real interest in next generation educational solution. The way forward for us collectively as a species, but also in the family and national groups that we identify with is to like empower one another as fast as possible to understand what makes this century different and how we can take advantage of the unique opportunities of this century. For instance, there's connectivity everywhere. There are cheap computers. There are ways of learning over the internet that can actually be even more effective than learning in person. I think the Seed Group, the UAE in general, but also Dubai, and has been particularly forward thinking on this stuff, and it's like is putting significant resources into making sure that the region and the organizations that you guys influence are the leaders in the world. And I think that's like something you can do maybe when you're more focused. And Kano's been quite focused as well on this challenge over the past 7 years, and I think we're the leading organization in the world, at least private organization in the world on this stuff. And so it was kind of inevitable that we would come together, given the investments you guys are making in next generation education and the products and technologies that we've been designing and developing for next generation education. So I think the intent is, for us to combine our skill sets, combine our knowledge, combine, what we know about designing and developing computing solutions, content and curriculum for, the K through 12 generation now with what you guys know about the infrastructure of school systems, the incentive structures of nonprofit organizations, the distribution systems that prevail, in Dubai, UAE, and in the Middle East in general. So I think the goal is for us to form like a fast moving, but also like long-term focused relationship where we, build the market out. And there's a unique opportunity because we're kind of a fresh brand, we're new and a lot of people are interested in what we're doing now, and there aren't too many barriers to getting it in front of many people soon. So we want to, with you guys and you with us, like bring something really new to the region and bring something really valuable that 20 years from now kids will look back and say like, when my mom got me my first Kano or my teacher taught their first Kano class, that was when I realized, what I wanted to do with my life. That's when I had my idea for my first business. Realized I wanted to be a visual artist. That's when I realized I wanted to code a new application that would, change the way solar panels work and make them 10% more efficient. I think that's what we're aiming at.
What was the reason behind choosing the UAE as your next point of expansion? Why the UAE, and what is your goals and long-term vision here?
Focused leadership, fewer bureaucracies standing in the way of innovative solutions, good relationship with you guys, a sense that you guys are serious and are moving quickly to do distribution. And I think, for us, going to the Middle East has always been something that we've wanted to do because we think we bring something of great value at a good price point, and we can work with the right people to get it out there. And I think it was just perfectly timed. And I think the leadership that you guys have shown and the royal family in general is showing in education, I mean, that's, I think, unparalleled around the world. I mean, the amount of capital invested and the sense that we got to move now. There's no time to waste.
What do you think the Middle East should be doing differently to encourage educational technology from a business perspective?
For educational authorities in general, Middle East and around the world, I think that there should be like a really thorough review of all classroom technologies and in general, be looked at not only through the lens of like processor speed and battery life, although that's important, and we have great processor speed and great battery life, but like looked at through the lens of, is this a machine that will allow a young person to get inside it? And obviously this is part of our ethos. Get inside it, hack it, change it, install new applications on it, do things on it that would surprise the makers of it. A lot of classroom technology, like about half of it in the US, for instance, is extremely locked down. And that makes sense from a management perspective. But there's a middle ground, I think, and that's what Kano is really designing and developing and has released. Is like Chromebooks, for instance, are pure web browser based experiences, so you can't really install software, you can't really do proper device level programming on them. And I think that does our students somewhat of a disservice because they can't get under the hood. The Middle East actually in general is more in the realm of like Windows, which is more customizable. So we can go even more in that direction. One thing I'd want educational authorities to learn, I think a lot of people are overpaying. A lot of the big companies have a bit of a stranglehold, like on the education distribution channels. There are many middle parties in the equation, lots of middlemen, and like they're all taking their cut. You can go direct to a supplier and get a more affordable, better quality machine. You can do it directly, like with your government, for instance. Governments don't always have to work with intermediary distributors. We can create more budget, we can get more devices into students' hands, and hopefully more sustainable devices as well, devices that can be repaired and serviced easily rather than going in a landfill. So those are a few lessons. We've only picked those up through tons of research and questioning and conversations with students, with distributors, with governments. So those were hard-won lessons for us. The more we can show those governments and educational authorities that there is a better way, the better off those students will be.